Hi, it's Connie Stowers again, and here's my second installment of Do Re Mi Let's Sew. Um, which, because it's let's start at the very beginning, which, I'm not a good singer, and I've lost my hearing, so I really can't sing. But I like to sing. I sing off key, but you don't have to endure that most of the time, thankfully. So the next most common question I get asked a lot: what kind of sewing machine do I need? Well, that's like, what kind of car should I drive? Or what's the best cooking utensil? Or what's your favorite brand of shoe? There's as many brands as that you can imagine. My first suggestion is do not buy a machine at Walmart or Target or Sam's or Costco. Go to a sewing machine store that has service and buy your machine there. Or buy a used older machine. I also love vintage sewing machines. That would be prior probably to 1965 because they have all metal parts. They're simple. You can pretty much service them yourself, and I'll talk about those. But I personally sew on a FAF sewing machine that also has a embroidery unit and all of that stuff, but I did not start out with that. And this past year, I made over 1,000 masks. The machines I used to make my masks were my old vintage machines. My newer machines would not go over all the layers. My vintage machines, my 221 and my 301 Singers, just flew over those thick layers with no problem. And I'll talk about those in a minute. But the basic thing is you need to know what you want to do with your machine. You need to go to a sewing machine store and talk to the owners, talk to the people, find out what accessories you may think you want to do, what benefits they offer, if they offer classes, and how to use your machine, how to service it, how to keep it clean, if they have any kind of warranty. The best brands right now in the business are Bernina. Bernina is really kind of like the Lexus Maserati kind of. It's the more expensive machine, but they're very, very well made. And then you've got FAF and Viking. They're very, very good machines. They are European, although they're really made in the Far East. But the companies are from Europe. And then you've got Baby Lock and Janome. Janome is a Japanese machine. It's a very good machine. I have a small one of those that I use for classes and for beginner classes I teach. It's a good basic machine. So take the fabric that you're going to sew on. Don't let them show you their sample, which is on some real thick canvas thing. Take fabric like you're going to sew on to the sewing machine store and shop around. Also, here's a tip. Sewing machines are kind of like cars. You can dicker. You can try to get a better deal. You can say, well, if I have to pay full price, will you throw in this case or that accessory or these feet? I would say one thing to negotiate is a 1/4-inch foot. No matter what machine you buy, if you're going to quilt, you need a 1/4-inch foot. So anyway, those are tips about that. I'll show you my machines. I promise my sewing room is always a mess, and I've been working a lot, so it's messy. But here's my big one I named Violet because she's purple, and she's got the embroidery unit and everything. How do I turn this around? And she's got all kinds of stitches, as you can see, and she's my big girl. I use her a lot. Then over here I have If I'm running a lot of embroidery, which I do all the time, then I'll let my embroidery machine run, and I'll come over here and I'll work on my Pfaff Passport, which is the smaller machine that I take for classes. I think it weighs around 15 or 17 pounds, something like that. So it's good for classes, and all my same feet, since they're both Pfaff, will fit on it. However, I also love vintage machines, and there's all kinds of great vintage brand machines. This is my little Singer Featherweight 221. They can be pricey, but they're fantastic for quilters because they have the most perfect straight stitch ever. But that's all they have is a straight stitch. They do not zigzag without an attachment or make buttonholes or anything like that. So that is, this one's name is Tootie. I've got one named Tootie and one named Fruity. And then this is my 301 machine, which I kind of looked up on a Facebook marketplace. And she's the first slant needle that Singer made. And she's very strong and super fast. I mean, she will fly. And so I make clothes for my grandchildren. Anyway, and so I have this 301 that I use. I also have my mother's old 401 from when I was growing up, but right now she's in pieces getting serviced. The great thing about these older machines is there are all kinds of tutorials online to help you service them yourself, to clean them up and get them ready to sew. So anyway, those I would say the main thing about your sewing machine question, what kind of sewing machine, is get one not at a box store, because they will not service your machine. Those machines actually have all plastic parts that are not replaceable. So if those machines break, you're out of luck. No more machine. You have to go buy another one. So get a good machine at a store in your budget, and there's all kinds of budgets. Buy a used vintage machine. Another great machine is a Singer 99. They weigh a ton, but they are wonderfully dependable sewing machines that were made probably, I don't know, from the early 1900s until the 60s. And just a very good, dependable machine. You can service yourself. You can get it up and running, and it will do a great straight stitch for you. But it's not one you're going to be taking to classes because it probably weighs about 40 pounds. So anyway, those are my tips about buying a sewing machine. Thanks for tuning in.